Hey everybody, it's Mr. Hasquin, and I'm back with more things you should know by being alive. And I want to touch on the Olive Branch Petition. I wanted to look at its background, its purpose, its overall rejection, and then its place in escalating the American Revolution and the Revolutionary War. So by the time we get to 1775, the tensions between the American colonies and Britain have really reached a breaking point. We've had the Stamp Act in 1765. We've had the Townshend Acts in 1767. They all just fuel resentment. We have the Boston Massacre in 1770, then the Boston Tea Party in 1773. We have further anger that grows out of it. Then we have the battles of Lexington and Concord in April of 1775, and that sees the shot heard around the world and the first shots fired in the Revolutionary War. So, despite open conflict, many colonists still hoped that we could have a chance for reconciliation, not independence. So, in July of 1775, the Second Continental Congress drafted the Olive Branch Petition, and it was primarily authored by John Dickinson of Pennsylvania. It was like the final attempt to avoid a full break with Britain. And so the petition itself affirmed colonial loyalty to King George III. So we're going to be loyal to the crown. It asked the king to intervene with Parliament to address colonial grievances. So they're trying to get their grievances redressed. And it requested the repeal of the coercive acts, or as the colonists called them, the intolerable acts. And so that would, and then on top of that, bring about a halt to hostilities between the colonists and the British regular army. And so the term olive branch, of course, symbolizes peace in this particular case. So now, leaders like John Dickinson believed that war would be disastrous and reconciliation was still possible. John Dickinson was a Quaker, and he was very much against violence. And he saw this as the way to go. John Adams, though, persnickety John Adams, he thought the petition was pointless and that independence was inevitable. But he signed it to maintain unity in Congress. That's what this photograph here is. This is the signature page of the Olive Branch Petition. And you'll notice right up there at the very top, that bold signature of John Hancock. Now, the petition was approved on July 5th of 1775, and it was sent to London. Now, how did Britain respond to the petition? By the time the Olive Branch Petition reached King George III, he had already declared the colonies an open rebellion, and that was in August of 1775. The king refused to read the petition, and he labeled the colonies as traitors. And instead of seeking peace, Parliament passes the Prohibitory Act in December of 1775. This cuts off trade and treats American ships as enemy vessels. This rejection showed colonists that reconciliation was off the table. So, what was the impact of the rejection? Well, the Olive Branch's petition was a turning point. It convinced many moderates that, in the colonies, that independence was necessary. It exposed the inflexibility of the crown, the British monarchy, and Parliament. It paved the way for Thomas Paine's Common Sense, the pamphlet that he wrote in January of 1776, which argued for independence and a republican form of government. It led directly to the drafting of the Declaration of Independence in July of 1776, with Richard Henry Lee's resolution on the floor of the Second Continental Congress calling for separation from the British Crown. And what began as a plea for peace ended up clarifying the colony's next step. So, if it failed, why does the Olive Branch Petition matter? Well, the Olive Branch Petition shows that many colonists did not rush into revolution. They tried peaceful protest first. Even after bloodshed, they are willing to reconcile if their rights were respected. Now, the rejection of the petition by the Crown demonstrated how rigid leadership can close off compromise, which can lead to conflict. It's a reminder that diplomacy matters, but when ignored, it can lead to irreversible decisions. The Olive Branch Petition was America's last call for peace with Britain, and when it was rejected, it pushed the colonies down the road to independence. If you learned something new today or jogged your memory on some other things, like, comment, follow, share for more things that you should know by being alive, because moments like the Olive Branch Petition show us how quickly the door to peace can close in history. Thanks for watching.